And just one word for Senator Klobuchar. I was wondering who would be the Democrat that kind of stood up today in a positive way, and I thought she did a very good job representing the
You've been
Democratic
watching continuous coverage of the inauguration celebration for President Donald Trump in Washington, D.C. We will continue bringing you the key moments, including when he addresses the crowd at Capital One Arena. Thanks for joining us. I'm Justin Wormuth.
And I'm Emily McLeod. You're watching News 6 at 5. Lisa is off tonight, and Matt, he's in our nation's capital for the inauguration of President Trump. In his 30-minute inaugural address, Trump outlined his goals for the next 4 years, including promising to sign a number of executive actions today, many to undo policies enacted by President Biden since 2020. He also talked about inflation, an energy emergency, and the Panama Canal. The president described how he wants to be remembered when he leaves office. A number of people from Central Florida also made their way to Washington, D.C. for the inauguration,
including our very own Matt Austin. And Matt, I know you met some locals in the airport and you stuck with them today.
I was able to track them down. President Trump has officially taken his spot in the White House behind me there. Many Central Floridians really wanted to see him do it. They wanted it so bad they were willing to spend thousands of dollars to do it, stay outside all night waiting in lines, and some of them even had to donate their purses to make it happen. We first met these 4 Windermere women in the Orlando International Airport. At this point, they had a lot to figure out regarding Okay, I apologize. We didn't have audio in that story for some reason. We'll get that back for you in a little bit. But not everybody was able to be inside that arena. Some of them actually had to watch from their hotel lobby because they were expecting to be out here on the National Mall making it happen. So we'll catch up with them and hopefully get this story back for you in just a little bit. Guys, send it back into the studio.
All right. Matt Austin reporting live from Washington, D.C. I know in your story, Matt, because we had a prepared thing here when we're talking about bags that were ditched. Can you talk about that? I did see that on social media. Explain that, what you saw.
Okay, so let me explain what happened here. So these ladies, you know, a lot of ladies show up to Trump rallies and they're dressed to the nines. They had their purses with them. They waited all night in line. As they got up to security, security told them, you can't bring those purses in here. So they had to leave their purses on the sidewalk. Some of them I'm told were Louis Vuitton, brand new purses. So somebody made out like a bandit outside a whole box of purses because you could not bring them inside. And these ladies chose to leave their purse outside rather than to go home after waiting all that time.
So they don't have them anymore?
No.
Oh
no, they emptied everything out, their IDs and their money. They left the bag. So let me ask you, what would you do? What concert would you wait for if you had to leave your purse, your favorite bag, out on the sidewalk to get in?
That's crazy.
Not me.
Well, Matt, I'm cold watching you out there. I can see your breath in your live shot. It's cold in D.C. It's not as cold here, but is it hard to get around at all? Has that stopped anybody from participating in the inauguration festivities?
Yeah, it's very difficult to get around this city right now. In fact, I've had a few Uber drivers. We go to get into the taxi or the Uber, and they say, where do you want to go? Oh, I'm not taking you. That's too difficult to get there. So we had to walk about 1.5 miles with some gear today. But the weather for Floridians is very difficult. And for me, it was a pretty funny moment sitting in the taxi yesterday as we were driving around with my photographer, Anthony, who's behind the camera right now. I saw him looking extra carefully at the snow. Turned out, at 36 years old, it's his first time. Take a look at the video.
There's a black one over here. Okay, let's push it out.
Oh. Okay, I think we actually are going to get back to that. We have the story that we originally sent in of those ladies with the purses. Let's take that right now. All right, you ever have one of those days at work, guys, where things just don't seem to be working for you? Welcome to D.C. I don't know if it's because cold and everything's frozen, but I promise you, we did a big story that we were very excited to show you. Hopefully we'll get it back for you in the later shows.
The equipment's from Florida. It's not used to those freezing temps up there in D.C. So, you know, the equipment is not participating with the cold weather. All right, Matt, we'll get back to you and hopefully get back to that story here shortly. But stay warm. You're doing a great job out there. All right, today's inauguration was moved inside because of the winter weather in our nation's capital, and some of that is even being felt in parts of Florida.
Yeah, it's chilly. It's been chilly throughout the day. We have team coverage on what's to come as well with meteorologist Julie Broughton and Sapara Kokinis. Let's start with Julie breaking it all down for us.
Yeah, and that cold weather in D.C., it's all part of the same system that's going to potentially bring wintry weather to North Florida as we head through the next day or so. So as we move through the rest of our evening, we'll keep it dry this evening, but overnight, do expect some showers to begin moving in, especially across our southern counties. Then for your Tuesday, we are looking at cold, windy, and rainy conditions with rain chances going up to 90% for a lot of us tomorrow. And then we'll keep it wet for the first part of our day on Wednesday. And we do have some winter storm warnings in place across parts of North Florida. So these go into effect tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening, and will be up until 1 o'clock on Wednesday because they are looking at that potential of some snow accumulating in North Florida. Here's what we're looking at right now. Not a bad start to our week. This is our Daytona Beach sky cam where we are seeing some blue sky out there. But look at the temperatures. Right now it is 45 degrees, feeling like 38 because of those winds coming in out of the north at 16 miles per hour. A lot of us are in the 40s right now, including DeLand, where you're at 49, 44 in Palm Coast. You're sitting at 49 in Claremont and 53 in Kissimmee. Now let's have our meteorologist Sapara Kokinis and talk more about that system that's bringing the wintry weather to North Florida.
That's right, Julie. And as we take a look at this setup, the bigger picture really kind of gives you an idea of exactly what's going to happen as area of low pressure is going to continue to develop across deep South Texas. Now, this system is a very far south system, and so it's not a typical track that we see happen, and that's the reason why we're looking at this potentially being a historic winter event for the deep south. So as we're looking at this system, you'll notice that there's a lot of green here on the map. This is upper level moisture riding over a lot of that cold air, and what's going to happen is that's going to allow for a little bit of sleet as well as some snow to develop. Now, this system is actually going to progress toward the east and stay on the southerly path. So the thing is closer to this warm front ahead of it, basically what we're going to see is kind of sleet and ice develop, and then a little bit farther away from the actual system itself, it's more likely we're going to remain snow. So in between that, notice that along the coastline, that's where we could see some sleet mixing in with some snow, but I do believe we're also going to see the potential for maybe some historic snowfall records. I'll be back to break all that down coming up in just a few minutes. Guys, back to you.
All right, thank you, Samara. New developments tonight in the search for a new president at Bethune-Cookman University. On Friday, we showed you students protesting in meetings and on campus after the chair of the Board of Trustees was voted out.
The chair previously voted to give the interim president the permanent job, something many students supported. Now attention turns to what will happen next for the board, the presidential role, and for the students. News 6's Molly Reed continues our coverage of the controversy tonight.
Well, so much happens on our space coast, including launching astronauts and the occasional billionaire into space. But a company meant to make it a little easier to bring people to space is in deep trouble. What this means for those who bought tickets to the final frontier, next at 5.
Sponsored by Launch Credit Union. Go beyond.
Well, we have been reporting on the development of Space Perspectives spaceship Neptune for 5 years now, including getting up close to the luxury capsule just last September. But last week, financial troubles were exposed.
At the Titusville airport where the balloons are made, the company got a letter saying they're being evicted because they owe it $90,000 in unpaid rent. We sent News 6's James Barbero there to find out what happens now to the workers and the nearly 2,000 tickets that were sold at $125,000 apiece. All right, let's get you back to Washington, D.C. We are waiting to see if President Donald Trump has arrived. We understand that his children have arrived at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. It has been a long day of inauguration festivities. There's Ivanka Trump there, his daughter, Again, still waiting to see if the president, we're expecting him to make his arrival any minute now. But Justin,
yeah, with
with
everyone standing up, you have to imagine the phones are out as well. You have to imagine his entrance is imminent here at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. And we know that there are several Central Floridians who have made that trip. But we heard from Matt Austin earlier today at the inauguration. We are keeping an eye on this program. And again, waiting for the president to come out. We will take that to you. We're going to take you there as that happens. But in the meantime, we do want to get a check of your weather now with meteorologist Julie Brown. We have team weather for you because there's just so much to talk about in the weather department. So today, Julie, is a nice little appetizer for what's coming our way.
All right, we are seeing cool temperatures out there today, but we have seen a decent amount of sunshine. All of that begins to change. We'll see some clouds moving in overnight. And along with that, we will see a few showers, especially across our southern counties. And that will really set the stage for us to see widespread rain tomorrow. So we are designating tomorrow an inconvenient weather day with rain chances at 90%. It's that same system that will be bringing the potential of snow across North Florida. And then by late in the week, we dry things out and see some sunshine. Now, we do have winter storm warnings posted for much of North Florida back into the panhandle. These go into effect tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening and are in place until 1 o'clock Wednesday afternoon. And we could be talking about some snow accumulating in the panhandle. Samara will talk more about those potential snow totals in just a moment. But first, here's a very pretty look outside for us. This is our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Together camera over downtown Orlando. 54 degrees right now. Our winds are coming in out of the north, and the winds will really begin to pick up, especially into the day tomorrow and tomorrow night. Now, a lot of us are in the 40s right now, sitting at 48 in Ocala. Palm Coast, you're at 44, and you're at 52 in Mico. Here's your hour-by-hour forecast featuring Mr. Gray. He is such a handsome guy. We're looking at temperatures staying fairly steady this evening. Clouds are going to increase, so we're not going to see a dramatic temperature drop. We'll be in the mid-40s by around 9 o'clock. Here's a look at the clouds and rain forecast. So right now we have high pressure to our north. We have an old front to our south. We're watching for an area of low pressure to continue developing over the Gulf, and that's going to help to enhance all of this rain that will be moving up into our area. So by tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, we're looking at widespread heavy rain. But then look at the blue back across the panhandle. That's where we're talking about snow and sleet as we head into tomorrow evening and overnight on Wednesday. And Samara, you have much more about the potential of some snow accumulating.
And that's right, Julie. So when we look at the potential to see some snow, a lot of that potential is really going to be a lot higher in the panhandle. But back here at home, we're not going to completely rule out maybe a little bit of sleet flying through parts of maybe northernmost Marion County. You can see the purple here with a very low percentage of seeing an accumulation of at least an inch of snowfall here running through parts of northern Marion and even getting pretty close to northern Flagler. But when you get back into the deep reds, that's the panhandle from Tallahassee going back over into Pensacola, anywhere between 98 and 100% chance of seeing at least an inch of snowfall actually falling and accumulating there on the ground. So when we look at the historical data, okay, we're just going to take it back for a moment. Records, all-time single storm snowfall record, right? 4 inches. That was in Milton, Florida, and that was in 1954. Pensacola snowfall's record is 3 inches. That was set in February 16th of 1895. Now, the potential for one or both of these to be tied or broken is definitely there. We've seen it in the forecast here lately. Look at all the deep south running across the Gulf Coast. It says anywhere between about 4 to 8 inches are possible. I'm thinking 3 to 5 in the Florida Panhandle. So when we look at the potential to see, hey, could we see up to 3 inches of snowfall? I'm not used to saying this. Snowfall. When we look at that potential, you'll still see the rainbows taking it out of the northern portion of Marion County. So really not getting close to Central Florida, but back in the Panhandle, again, between about 37 and up to 45% chance from Panama City back into Pensacola, Mobile about a 25% chance, and even Tallahassee getting pretty close to that 50% chance of seeing 3 inches of potential snowfall on the ground there, Julie.
Yeah, we are going to be tracking that very closely as we move through the day tomorrow and into tomorrow night. Now, here's your pinpoint accurate forecast.
Your forecast brought to you by Napleton Chrysler Jeep Dodge.
Temperatures will stay pretty steady in the low to mid 40s tonight with some clouds and some rain moving in as we get close to morning. That will develop from south to north. Here's how it looks for you for the next 7 days. Again, tomorrow is an inconvenient weather day. Rain chances will be at 90%. We'll keep rain chances at 70% overnight Tuesday night into Wednesday before we clear things out Wednesday afternoon. We keep it cooler than normal every single day this week into this weekend. But by Sunday, we see a high of 71, and Monday, we top out at 73. Stay with us. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
No matter what's happening where you live, trust Sky 6 to get you the bigger picture. Exclusively sponsored by attorney Dan Newland.
Whoa, what is happening?
We're packing up our newscast and taking it on the road. So let's go.
Every month, we're broadcasting from a different community.
Want us to come to your neighborhood?
Go to clickorlando.com/hitstheroad and tell us where to go next.
Want News 6 straight to your inbox? Sign up for your favorite newsletter at clickorlando.com/newsletter. Sign up for In the Loop.
Let's get you back to Washington, D.C., where President Donald Trump has just entered Capital One Arena. There he is with First Lady Melania Trump making their entrance. Those people, the spectators, thousands of people have been waiting all day.
It has been a long day. It has been a long day for the president, for the First Lady, as they continue all of the ceremonies, the pomp and circumstance of Inauguration Day, no doubt. And he has had several speaking engagements, and I'm sure the many people who are in the crowd here at Capital One Arena are anxious to hear the president speak again, because he's been speaking at different venues throughout the day and throughout the morning.
And you see him, he held up that folder there. This is the moment everyone in that arena has been waiting for all day.
Right.
He has the desks set up there with the presidential seal that was put on it. He plans on signing several executive orders in front of that massive crowd, which is something I don't know that I've ever seen that before.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a historic thing, and no doubt it's history as we watch this unfold, and so many people just eager to get their eyes on and maybe shake the hand of the 47th president of the United States. And you have the music playing in the background, and just we will take that live whenever that does happen. But as he continues to make his way throughout the crowd of Capital One Arena right there in Washington, D.C., I'm sure the folks inside are certainly glad to be inside with the frigid and really dangerously cold temperatures that they've been experiencing as they now hit the stage, and to a round of applause, no doubt.
Yep, there he is with the executive orders, one can assume, potentially in there, that he may be getting ready to sign as he makes his way up to the stage. And, you know, things that I have thought about so many times today, it just seems like it's almost surreal that we're at this moment. I feel like this election was talked about for so long, just thinking about what happened in the last few months on the campaign trail, how many things changed. It almost feels surreal that we're at this moment here today.
And he spoke about the assassination attempt throughout this morning. He brought that up as he delivered his remarks earlier, and I'm anxious to see what he has to say to this crowd who is just feverishly waiting to hear what he has to say. Let's take a listen in.